What up guys, ThatzNOTmetal983 here bringing you another review, and this is a digital review. Now it's been a long ass time since I've done a digital review. I think the last one I done was the Sunday's Torment EP review, and that was a while back. So, but this release that I'm going to be talking about today only got released a couple of days ago, and I thought now's a good opportunity to bring back the digital reviews and what I want to come back to. What can I say? But we'll get into that in a second. But this is of the band Slice the Cake, and this is their third full-length album entitled Odyssey to the West. Now, I might as well point out that this is kind of like a two-part review. You've got the full-length album of Slice the Cake entitled Odyssey to the West. But then you've got the second part of this is going to be another review of a single or EP, whatever you want to call it. It's just one long track, 28 minutes long. Called Odyssey to the Gallows, which I'm going to review when I get a chance to listen to it. But I've only been focusing on this album because I want to review this and get my thoughts out there on this release, so bear with me, so stick around. For those of you who aren't familiar with Slice the Cake, they are a progressive deathcore band. They're a worldwide studio band, but they've been known to do a couple of live performances here and there with different members and stuff like that. But the main members in the band are, you've got a bassist from Australia, then you've got a guitarist and drummer from, I believe it's Sweden, and then you've got the vocalist, which is from the UK. And the band has a really good discography behind them, I'm not going to lie. They've got their debut EP called Cleanse, which I can't say I've had the greatest of exposure to, but I have to say it's a great release. Some really killer tracks on there. But what really made me discover the band was one of my friends. One of my mates. He showed me their debut album entitled "The Man with No Face," and I was really impressed with it. I love the heavy impactfulness of it and the diversity in it. It had a lot of progressive elements in there, some really ridiculously heavy elements, but then some really odd mellow elements and quite ambient kind of vibes, and that's what I really liked. I love the diversity in the tones that Slice the Cake were delivering. No pun intended there. But anyway, but yeah, I really like that album, and I still listen to it on the odd occasion. If I completely forget about it, I'll find it again. I'll be like, oh, let's take that album on, and then I'm blown away once again. But then following that, you had their second album, which was, if I'm not mistaken, it was stuff that didn't make it onto the Man with No Face album, and it was called Other Slices. And that album I absolutely love. It's one of my favourite progressive deathcore albums. I know there's not a great deal of progressive deathcore bands out there, but oh well. But it's one of my favourites in the genre, and I absolutely love it. There's some really great songs on there, and some that I have on repeat quite a lot. But yeah, definitely check out that album if you get the chance. It's fucking phenomenal if you ask me. But anyway, and obviously that was a while ago when that album came out, so we've been expecting a new album for quite a while now. And they've brought out a couple of singles to the album, and I believe that they've had some troubles with different things going on in their personal lives and stuff like that, and obviously it's not going to be easy with them being a worldwide band in different locations, different time space. It's obviously going to be difficult, but it's the things that come with it. But every single that they dropped leading up to the release of the album, I was really enjoying, and it made us that more excited. All the songs were great, really punchy, and all that, all the good stuff that you can expect on The Man with No Face and Other Slices, a lot along those type of lines. But then the other day, they announced that they were dropping the album, and they dropped the album and attached a message to it saying that there's been some tough times going in the band, and they didn't want the material to like simmer out and never be put out, so they had finished the album, put it out there, and then decided to also put a single called Odyssey to the Gallows along with that, but that'll come in a different video. But I got really excited and I downloaded the album straight away. And I have to say though, this album is everything that I expected and more. This is an hour and 18 minutes long, so it's quite a lengthy album, but the progression of from the first track to the last track is absolutely astounding. And damn, it started to rain out there, quite heavy. Anyway, but the album itself is absolutely fantastic. There's some great progression in there. You can definitely feel a lot of same influences from the first and second album on this record. It's along the same sort of production as well. It's quite beefy, quite thick sounding in the production department, from the bass to the guitars to the drums. Everything is very loud sounding, very punchy, but it's not like super clean. It's got a rough edge to it, especially on the hard hitting riffs and the hard hitting grooves when they hit, and it's absolutely amazing to listen to. It's got so much elements. There's the same sort of elements as the previous albums. There's a lot of really heavy parts. There's a lot of progressive parts that are ridiculously technical, but then you've got these really soft parts that break up the album and really make it feel as though that it's actually a flowing album, you know, like there's a great progression throughout it and the tracks flow so well into each other. It's one of those albums, I think, that you can't really listen to you can't listen to it like, oh, I want to listen to that track. You can't, in my opinion, you can't, because every time I've listened to this album, I've listened to it back to back, and it just feels a lot more better than when you go to a track and just click to play it. You have to listen to the album in full to experience what it's like on this album, and it's absolutely fantastic on that department. Vocally, there's some really, really solid vocal performances on here. The one thing that turned us on to this band, like the musicianship on the album is absolutely fantastic, and there's some great stuff in there. But the vocals is what sold it for me when I first heard it, because the vocals, when it comes to vocal delivery, the growls and the harsh highs and stuff like that, they all sound, it kind of sounds like Jonathan from Job for a Cowboy in essence, and it sounds really gargly, very evil sounding, like it's just so well executed, and just you can feel every emotion from it. And there's a new aspect that I didn't really hear much in previous Slice of Cake material, and that is kind of like shouty, kind of hardcore, half scream kind of things going on. And there's quite a bit of that on this album, and I think it shows a little bit more diversity in Gareth's vocals, and it definitely shows that he's a very superior vocalist when it comes to delivery and execution on the vocal phrasing and stuff like that. I think it's excellent stuff. Lyrically, absolutely fantastic. And oh, I forgot to mention, there is a lot of clean vocals on this album, which I definitely feel adds a bit of a melodic aspect to it, and that's what you've got to have when it comes to progressive stuff. You've got to have, when it comes to progressive metal, in my opinion, it does have to still have an edge, whereas there's a lot of edge on this, obviously, because of being deathcore, but then there's still that melodic side of it, of progressive, and there's some beautiful acoustic moments on this album which really set the album apart and really make you kick back a little bit, like you can feel like an intensity listening to most of the album, but when the acoustic elements kick in, you just sit back and you're just like, oh, those feels are there. They're really strong when it comes to the acoustic delivery on this album, and the clean vocals on top of that, executed perfectly. Fucking perfectly. I absolutely love this album, and you definitely need to check it out. I'd have to say it's in with a shot of being close to the album of the year. I don't think it's going to be album of the year, but I do think it's got a chance of being in the high end of things, because the sheer atmosphere and the progression of this album is something to behold, and it's absolutely fantastic. There's a lot of heavy elements, there's a lot of sophomore elements, and there's just a great natural feel to the way everything's being delivered. From the drums being the fast, brutal and fast, brutal blast beats to the grooves on certain aspects of the softer side of the album. Bass delivery, excellent, very excellent stuff. The tone on it is pretty clean, but it really hits in hard with the guitar tone, which is very, very nasty sounding. It sounds like it's just been rubbed with sandpaper. It's got a really aggressive edge to it. It's like a chainsaw assault of a tone. That's the best way I can describe it. People will probably think I'm insane for saying that, but fuck you. But yeah, I really enjoy this album. I think Slice the Cake, they said also in the message, I might as well say, that this may be the end for Slice the Cake, and if they're going out on this album, it really is a great send-off for the band, and it actually is a great namesake in their discography. People's going to remember this album just like they're going to remember all the others, but this one in particular I think is definitely a namesake for the progressive metal world, and I think it's going to turn into a bit of an unsung hero in the progressive metal world. But it's something, if you aren't the progressive side of things, you're going to look at that album and think, wow, that is an absolute masterpiece. I think it's an absolute masterpiece myself, and I can't stop listening to it, and I can't stop keep falling in love with it. And I think personally this is a great album, and for that reason, for those reasons that I've just said before, and the more I listen to this album, the more I enjoy it, I'm going to give it a solid 9 out of 10. It's excellent album, and definitely a great namesake in the genre, and definitely a great namesake in 2016. And I think if you haven't checked out this album, check it out. There's some links in the description where you can check out a couple of tracks from the album, but check out the album. There's a Bandcamp link down there. Check it out. It is absolutely fantastic. You need to check it out if you're into that. If you're into deathcore, progressive metal, or even something that's got a lot of diversity in it, check out this album. I absolutely love it. So yeah, this is a 9 out of 10 from Super Metal 1983. Obviously, coming up soon is going to be the review of Odyssey to the Gallows, which I will get onto at some point over the next week or so, but we'll see what happens. Obviously, I've got, I don't know if you've seen on my Facebook, I've got a live Q&A coming very soon. It'll be taking place on Saturday, that's next Saturday, which is the 9th, I believe, at 8 PM local UK time till 11 PM, so make sure you're in there, have a bit of banter, and then maybe you can get to know me a little bit more, and I can get to know you guys a little bit. Let's have a bit of a laugh. So yeah, I'll see you until the next video, and make sure to check out this album by Slice of Cake. I'll see you next video, and remember, stay metal. See you later.